Hi, we have another ScrawlrBox today. Just don't get too used to this. This is the last one for now. And this one seems a little lighter than the previous one and less bulky. You can actually hear the supplies in there. I was trying to guess what might be in there and I was thinking some markers or pencils of some sorts. But let's see what actually is inside. So we have actually the Viviva Colorsheets. It's watercolors. I haven't used them before and I always wanted to, so that's nice. We also have a brush and a water-soluble pencil, a Frutella candy and a sticker. Also, of course, the Scrawler zine. Ooh, that's a really pretty print. I love this. And here is the artist. It's Polina Zavodina and watercolor paper. Okay, this is it. So let's start. And again, like with the previous box, I want to start with the zine to just see any kinds of tips and tricks that the ScrawlrBox team prepared for us. So we have everything that's in the box here. And then we have the featured artist. And an interview with her and some more of her beautiful art. And like I said, the Scrawler tips. So what do we have here? Oh, cool. I didn't realize that it has gold and silver in it. I was wondering how she did all of these little accents. Because this box doesn't have a white gel pen, but now I know. Okay, and this part is really cool about the pencil. It says that you can obviously put it on top to create some interesting texture, but because it's water soluble, you can put it as a sketch and then it should dissolve. But mostly these are tips that are true for any watercolors, but obviously this is good that they put them in because not everyone has worked with watercolors, or even maybe if you did work with watercolors you might not know some of these things. But here we have a Viviva specific tip. Try not to close the booklet while the sheets are wet, as this may cause them to stick together. It might be handy to use separate palette with a pool of activated pigment. And this was what I was wondering about when I saw these sheets. Like, how do you use them? Do you just take them from the sheets or do you put them in a separate palette? Ooh, what do we have here? A deep dive, a watercolor warm-up. That's really cool. So this is included like a training session before using your watercolors, which is really cool so that you can see how the watercolors react with each other and what to expect in your actual painting. And here we have some artist advice. So she tells us how to use the paint to make accents like this, and also how to make the paint drip. And here we have a Scrawler gallery from the 100th box. I really like these drawings, but I'm gonna be honest, even though I didn't buy it, I wasn't really a fan of the 100th box because I usually don't work with muted palette like this. I know they had before something similar, and I did have that box and I like painting with it, but I have no use for it outside of just the challenge that they provided. A little bit more about the brand of the watercolors and some more of the artist's works from previous boxes. And what is that? Exploring the elements. So we have some associations with the elements explained here and how the artists use them. And our challenge for this month is fire and ice. Okay. Well, let's swatch the art supplies that we have and let's see how that will help us with some inspiration for this challenge. So this paper is watercolor paper, obviously, and it has 190 GSM and only 8 sheets, which makes me feel a little bad that I will have to sacrifice one for the swatching, but it needs to be done. And it looks like cold pressed paper, So first, let's use this pencil on its own, like a regular pencil. It does feel a little different than your regular HB pencil, a little softer, I would say. And now let's try out how it will react with water. I thought there would be markings left, but there aren't really any. That's so interesting. I've never used like watercolor pencils or anything like that, so this is new to me. But one thing that I'm worried about is, what if I draw a sketch first, and then if I put the watercolors on it and this dissolves, won't it tone everything down so that it like makes it gray? Well, let's pull out these watercolors and try that out. Let me look at them first. I'm really curious how they look. Oh, that's so cute. I can put my name on here. Okay, first we have ruby red and pink pearl. Oh, and it even has a place to swatch. And I will do that, but I also do want to swatch it on the actual paper that I will use. Next, there is fire and lava, jade and emerald, aurora and sapphire, 2 silvers, and 2 golds. Are they any different? Or is it so that I just have more of them? And there's also a blank page and a place to mix the colors. I guess if you're outside and you don't have your full palette, they thought of everything. Oh, also, before we start, there are slight pencil marks here. I just couldn't see them when the pencil was wet. It's not a big deal to me, I just thought I would mention it. But let's dig into our colors. I'm stressed. I don't know what to expect. Oh god, it's so weird. So first I'll put it here. Okay, I really didn't pick up that much of paint, and the color is so bright. Okay, it does look very similar, both swatches, so that's good. That means it's reliable. This one is definitely much more delicate. Now, do I wait until they're dry? Because here it did say that there is a special water repellent coating to avoid sticking when wet. But it still said don't close it. No, I'll just wait. I'll just wait. I really like this color. I'm usually not a big fan of orange. This one is really nice, very deep. And yes, the name suits it very well. So while they were drying, I was trying to find out how much paint actually there is in the squares. Like, is it maybe a half pen worth of paint? Something like that. But the only thing I could find on their page is that they said that they last for months, which to me doesn't really mean anything. Because I just think that's very subjective. Because if you paint every day and a lot, maybe they will only last for a month or 2. But if you don't, maybe you could use them for a year or more. So if you do know, please let me know, because I am very curious. Now let's see if these are actually 2 same colors, which they should be. They look the same, and I feel like if they weren't, they would name them something different. Barely see it, but I'm sure it looks pretty with other colors. But yeah, this is the same silver. And the last one, gold. Wait, did I get to the bottom of the paint? Can you see it? Is it really only this much of paint here? Well, I guess you don't use gold too much, but I'm assuming these other colors are... Yeah, you can see it here too. So now I'm really curious how much of these paints are here. Because if they say they'll last for months, but I see white after making a little tiny dent in the papers, then I don't know about that. So here are all of the colors up close. They're very nice and shimmery. And what is interesting about them is they are shimmery the most when there's a thick layer of them. And as the paint is thinner and thinner, you can see fewer of these sparkles, which is really cool. And one more thing that I said I wanted to try out is, will the pencil make the paint muddy. I feel like it did lose a little vibrancy as expected, but it's not as dramatic as I thought it would be. And the booklet also mentioned glazing, so I would like to try that out too. Well, that's a nice deep color. Okay, now that I think we have everything covered, let's move on to actual painting now. So first off camera, I did the warm-up that they suggested, and I gotta say that the colors blend in and disperse in water really beautifully, so I am excited about that. But before I forget, again, we have this last thing to try. I know what a Frutella tastes like, but it's my duty to try it. They're so good. But what do I want to draw? Do I draw fire separately and ice separately, or together somehow? Start with something simple, just a girly, right? And say she has eyes, obviously, and one eye is like fire eye. I feel like fire is much easier to show. Yeah, I guess a more normal eye would be good, because it would be kind of weird if both eyes were not really eyes. So I want to more or less decide how big I want the face to be. Maybe a little higher, yeah, because I want it to be big, but still so that all this stuff here can happen without actually going like on the face. And like, yeah, the hair would be here. Okay, I think the sketch is ready. I know here it's a little empty, but I will do something. I just thought I would make something like a little more fluid and a little less rigid than this fire here or these icicles here. So I'll just go in with paints instead of first with pencil. So I want to start with her face, and I did already mix some colors, and I mixed pink pearl with a little bit of fire. I know right now it looks very orange, but when I tried it out on a piece of paper, it looked fine. And I want to get rid of some of the pencil because even though it's water soluble, I don't want it to muddy out the colors too much. What I really like about these watercolors is that even though I mixed two colors, and usually when you mix watercolors, they just make a different color, right? But here you can see that these are actually two different colors. And it adds this like nice variety to the painting. What I also like about them is that a little goes a long way, because I was afraid that these wouldn't last long, but I mixed really a little bit, and I'm only taking a little at a time, and I wouldn't think that this would transfer to the paper so vibrantly, but it does. So I'm also adding some ruby red to places like her cheek to just add a little more variety, because yeah, there was enough variety from these two colors, but a little more never hurt nobody. Ooh, I really like what the paint did right now. That it just created like this lip texture. So I was debating how to do her mouth, like inside, and I would either use the pencil first and then put red on it, but that might be a little muddy, or I could mix sapphire with the ruby red, and I think I will do that. For the eye, I think I will also get the sapphire, because I feel like the aurora is a little too greenish for that, although I might end up using it for shading. So I didn't really think what I want to do with the eyebrows. Like, do I want to make it the same color as the hair on this side and this one on this side, or maybe do it purple to have like one thing that matches both sides. I think that would be cool. Okay, not the best eyebrows that I've ever painted, but that's whatever. Now I want to do the hair. And I want them to be a little more painterly, like in this picture. So I will use the wet on wet technique for this. And I think I should take the colors straight from here and not dilute them in the palette so that they're more vibrant. And for the colors, I want to do both lava and fire. It's drying out so fast, I can't work that fast. So now I want to move on to these icicles here. And what I want to do is, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it now, but I want to make them like go into her hair. Actually, this looks pretty cool. Let's do one more here, because this is like almost at the hair. I also want to try doing like a drippy, like it said in the zine. Okay, go. How did it say to do that? Put your drawing more vertically and leave a drop of water with metallic paint in some place, and then add one more and again. I don't know, I don't get it. I'll just do it artificially. Okay, left side is done. Now for this one. And yeah, I will start with hair, trying to avoid this flame here, and then we'll go from there like here. I mixed sapphire with some pink to change the hue a little bit of the blue, and I still hope that I will be able to get a dark color for it. And I will also use the Aurora straight from the palette. So I think this is a really cool effect that I can get just dabbing the color into the wetted paper, because it looks like frost on her hair, which is very fitting. And for the fire, I will use the same colors as for the hair. And I do want to do a similar thing as on this side, so that like the colors melt together. I really like how this flame came out here especially. But I am almost done, and the only couple things that are left for me to do are some outlines on the face, and I also wanted to draw some accents with the silver and gold. So what I was thinking is I wanted to maybe do the eyelashes here with silver, and I don't know how that will look, but let's try. I actually really like it. I don't know how much you can tell on camera, but here. And I will do the same thing with the other eye, just with gold. I'm trying really hard not to disturb the pigment under, because this has happened before, and I definitely don't want that to get muddy here. I don't really like painting outlines with brushes. My hands are way too shaky. Okay, I think that's good. Alright, so the painting's done and it's time for my final thoughts about this box. And I'm sure it won't be a surprise to anyone if I say that I enjoyed this one way more than the previous one. I'm just so much more comfortable with these supplies than the ones from the previous box. I didn't know what to expect from these watercolors, but I did love them. They have beautiful colors and they are so vibrant. And I really enjoy the shimmer that they have when you pack a lot of paint on the brush. And speaking of the brush, it was fine. I am not an expert on brushes and this one is comparable to the ones that I have used before. So I did like it. The pencil I also liked. I really enjoyed how it dissolves in water and that is very versatile and you can use it in many different ways. And lastly, the paper. I'm not sure what wood-free bleached chemical pulp is, but it was okay working with it. Honestly, it is also comparable to other watercolor papers that I have used. Of course, it buckled a little, but that's a given, and it doesn't really bother me, so that is fine. But that will be it for today. Please let me know in the comments if you like the contents of this box and if you like my picture that I drew from it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!